Hello and welcome to Nicholas Genetics Lessons, and today I have prepared two multiple choice questions for you, and as usual I recommend you to stop video here, read the questions, answers, choose your correct answers, and when you would be ready you can run video again and you can compare your answers with my answers and explanations. And the first question is going to be about ABO blood group system, and here's a question: what are the possible offspring from a type A mother and a type AB father? And we have four blood groups, four phenotypic blood groups, and the first one would be blood group A, the second one would be blood group B, the third one would be AB, and the last one would be blood group O. And this would be phenotypes, and genotypes can be made by genotype that is AA and AO. Blood group B can be made by two genotypes, B and BO genotype. Blood group AB can be made by only one genotype, that is AB, and blood group O also can be made by only one genotype, that is OO. So we are told that mother belong to the blood group A, so her genotype can be AA or AO, and father belong to the blood group AB, so we know that his genotype only can be AB. Now we have to choose which genotypes would produce more variants in offspring. So we have for the mother variant that is AA and AO. If we cross with AB, of course here we would have more variants, because we have only one variant of allele here, and here we have two alleles. So let's choose genotype for the mother AO, and for the father we have only one variant, that is AB. Now we can build a Punnett square and we can see what variants in the progeny we may have. So here we would have capital A, and AB here, AO here, and BO here. As you see, we have four genotypes here, so all of them are different genotypes, but let's count phenotypes. AA and AO would make one phenotype A, because as you see, these two genotypes would make one phenotype A, and genotype AB would make only one phenotype AB. So this is going to be second phenotype AB, and the last variant would be genotype BO, that would make phenotype B. Phenotype B would be made by genotype BO. So as you see, we have four genotypes but three phenotypes. And now we can choose the correct answer here, and this is going to be answer B. We have in this answer phenotype A, phenotype B, and AB. And next question: in soybeans, resistance to sudden death syndrome, SDS, is inherited as dominant condition. In some cases, individuals that are not resistant to SDS, but whose parents were, can pass the trait on to their progeny. This is an example of which of the following? And here is the four answers to choose from. Answer A, overdominance. Answer B, incomplete penetrance. Answer C, incomplete dominance. And answer D, variable expressivity. So let's start with answer A, overdominance. And here is an example of the overdominance. Imagine that we have one parent whose genotype is capital A, another parent genotype is small a, and when we cross these two parents, the genotype of the progeny going to be capital A, small a. if, for example, these genotypes would be genotypes of the plants, and genotype capital A would stand for the small plants, small a also would stand for the small plants, and the progeny, that is capital A, small a, would make large plants. So we can say that hybrid here would have something that we call hybrid vigor. Especially this is true for the plants that is true breeding, that were self-pollinated for many generations, and such plants became homozygous in most of the loci, and usually such condition leads to genetic depression. But when we cross these two pure lines, the hybrid progeny would be more tall, more robust, and would have better survival rate. So we can say that this is example of the overdominance. So we can cross out this answer, and if we take, for example, answer C, incomplete dominance, would be example when we have two plants with genotype that is capital A, capital A, and small a, and capital A here stands for the red color, and small a stands for the white color of the flowers. And when we cross two parents whose phenotype would be they produce both pink flowers, in the progeny we would see the genotype capital A, capital A, capital A, small a, capital A, small a, and small a, small a genotype here. That would stand for the three phenotypes. Capital A would produce plants with red flowers, and capital A, small a would produce plants with pink flowers, and small a genotype would produce plants with white flowers. So unlike in simple Mendelian genetics, where heterozygous genotype would equal to homozygous dominant genotype and phenotype, so in simple Mendelian genetics with simple dominance we would see that these three genotype would make one phenotype. But as you see here, intermediate, that is capital A, small a heterozygous genotype, would make intermediate color between red and white. So this would be example of the incomplete dominance, and this is not correct answer. So now we have to choose between answer B, incomplete penetrance, and answer D, variable expressivity. What is the variable expressivity? Imagine that we have 10 people, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now imagine that all these 10 people have the same genetic disorder due to some defective gene on one of the chromosomes. So they have mutation in this gene, but the condition would vary. For example, person 1 would develop this condition to large extent, but person number 2, those also would be affected, but to much smaller extent. And all people here may have a different expressivity of this genetic disorder, but some of the people, like person, for example, number 6 and number 9, may not have this genetic disorder at all. For example, if this genetic disorder would lead to high blood pressure, this would be a quantitative trait, and we can measure the blood pressure in each person. So what is the incomplete penetrance? Answer B. Incomplete penetrance would be, example would be person number 6 and number 9, who those having this mutation do not show any traits or phenotype of this genetic disorder. So we call this incomplete penetrance. And incomplete penetrance is a qualitative trait. So whether it is present or not present. But we are not interested to which extent. Variable expressivity would answer this question, to which extent, because this is a quantitative trait and incomplete penetrance is qualitative trait. Now imagine that person number 9 or 6 would have also progeny and would give to their progeny this mutation. And in their progeny, this can be expressed to some extent, but this would be example of the answer B, incomplete penetrance, exactly description what we have here in our problem, when one person who is not affected with this genetic disorder can pass this genetic disorder to his progeny, and this would be example of the incomplete penetrance. We can measure penetrance in percentage form, and looking at this table, you can easily say that penetrance of this genetic disorder would be 8 out of 10 or 80%. So we can come to conclusion that this genetic disorder incompletely penetrant, and some of the people, those having this mutation in their genotype, wouldn't show it in their phenotype. And this is all for today. Thank you for your attention. Please subscribe for my new videos that I post almost every day. Thumbs up if you like this video. Please write your comments, questions if you have any. And see you in the next video. Goodbye.